My dad forgot to hang up and called me a burden. I stayed quiet, sold my $980K home, and vanished. When they returned from Europe, their key didn't fit, and the note I left destroyed them. The phone call should have ended at 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday in October. I'd called my dad about a warranty receipt for the dripping faucet in the upstairs bathroom, the third time it had leaked in 6 months, and the plumber needed proof of purchase from the original installation. Simple, mundane, the kind of call that happens 1,000 times between parents and adult children. "Yeah, I think I have it in the file cabinet," my dad Malcolm had said. "I'll look for it and text you a photo." "Thanks, Dad." Then I heard it, the muffled rustle of his phone sliding into his pocket. He hadn't hung up, hadn't even realized the call was still connected. I should have hung up, should have ended the call and saved myself. Instead, I heard silverware clinking against plates, the sound of chairs scraping against hardwood. Then, my mother's laugh, sharp and bright like broken glass catching sunlight. "Who was that?" she asked. "Corvus," my dad grunted through a mouthful of food. "Asking about that damn sink again. Always something wrong with that house. Kid can't handle basic maintenance to save his life." I froze. My hand, which had been reaching for a screwdriver on my workbench, stopped mid-motion, hovering in air. My chest suddenly tight. That's what happens when a boy gets handed a fortune he didn't earn. My mother, Dahlia, sighed. I heard wine gurgling into a glass. She always drank Pinot Grigio with lunch. Always from that particular bottle with the blue label from Trader Joe's. I could picture the exact scene. "Your mother should have left the deed to us, Malcolm. We would have leveraged it properly, gotten actual value out of the property. The house, my grandmother's house, the 3-bedroom Craftsman in the heart of Richmond that is sold had left me 3 years ago when she died. The house I'd lived in since I was 24. The house that was mine, solely mine, according to her carefully drafted will." Hearing them rewrite history felt like a knife twisting between my ribs. "Don't worry, Dahlia," my father said, his voice dropping to something conspiratorial, something calculated. "Once we're back from Europe after the Italy trip, we sit him down, have a serious conversation, time to talk about our retirement situation. He needs to understand this house is our future, not his playground." My chest tightened. The screwdriver I'd been holding fell from my hand and clattered against the concrete garage floor. "He feels guilty so easily," my mother whispered, but it carried perfectly through the phone. "Just push a little. Mention your back pain, Malcolm. The medical bills from physical therapy. That always gets him. Makes him feel like he hasn't done enough. He'll sign whatever we need." That wasn't parental concern. That was a predator analyzing prey. That was someone cataloging vulnerabilities for future exploitation. "And if he resists?" my father asked, chewing something. "Probably the leftover pot roast from Sunday dinner, the one I'd brought over, the one I'd cooked in my kitchen and driven 40 minutes to deliver because Mom had mentioned Dad's back was acting up again." "Remind him what we sacrificed," Dahlia said smoothly. The sound of her voice made my skin crawl. "Remind him about the private school tuition we paid, the college funds, the summers at music camp. Make him understand he owes us. By next year, our names will be on that deed, one way or another." Then came the killing blow. "He's always been a burden," my dad exhaled, a satisfied sound, like someone stating an obvious truth. "From the moment he was born. Expensive, needy, exhausting. A burden we've carried for 27 years. They both laughed. Not nervous laughter, not uncomfortable acknowledgement of a dark thought. They laughed like it was funny, like my existence was a punchline to a joke they'd been telling for decades. Something inside me snapped, clean, final, like a wire pulled too tight that suddenly gave up resisting. I didn't scream, didn't throw the phone, didn't punch the wall, or cry, or collapse. I tapped end call with a steady finger. Then I sat down on my garage floor, surrounded by tools and half-finished projects, and felt my entire understanding of my life rearrange itself like a puzzle where someone had just revealed all the pieces were forced into the wrong spots. A burden. They thought I was a burden. Fine. I'd be the heaviest thing they ever tried to carry, and then I'd drop them. I'd been living in my grandmother's house for 3 years. Isolde Thorne had been a force of nature, a woman who'd immigrated from Scotland in the 1960s, worked as a nurse for 40 years, invested shrewdly, and died at 84 with a net worth that shocked her entire family. She'd left the house to me specifically, not to my parents, not to be divided among the family, to me. "You'll appreciate it," she'd told me 6 months before she died, holding my hand in her hospice room. "You'll love it for what it is, not what it's worth. Your father would sell it to developers within a year. Your mother would want to gut it and flip it. But you, Corvus, you'll keep the garden I planted. You'll fix things properly. You'll make it a home." She'd been right. I'd spent 3 years renovating slowly, carefully, restoring original fixtures, replanting her garden with heirloom roses, learning to fix plumbing and electrical work through YouTube videos and patient guidance from the elderly contractor next door. And my parents had been visiting regularly, staying for weekends, commenting on how much space I had, how valuable the property was, how lucky I was, how they'd helped me get here, all the sacrifices they'd made. I thought they were proud. Turns out they were strategizing. I pulled up my banking app on my phone. The house was worth approximately $980,000 based on the last assessment. No mortgage he sold had paid it off years ago. It was mine, free and clear. And according to the trip itinerary my parents had emailed me 3 weeks ago, they were leaving for Italy in 2 days. A 10-day European vacation I'd helped fund. They'd asked for a $3,500 loan to cover upgraded flights and hotels. Said they'd pay me back. I'd sent the money. Guilt, they'd said, was my weakness. They had no idea. 10 days. I had 10 days to erase a life. I called Vivian Hale at 3:17 p.m. She was a property attorney I'd worked with on a previous real estate transaction. I did software consulting for real estate companies, and we'd crossed paths professionally. 46 years old, sharp as a knife, with 22 years specializing in property law. Corvus, she answered on the second ring. What can I do for you? The house my grandmother left me. It's solely in my name, correct? No liens, no co-ownership, nothing that would prevent me from selling it? A pause. Let me pull your file. I heard keyboard clicks. Yes, sole ownership. Title is clean. Why? I want to sell. Immediately. As in, I need a buyer within 72 hours. That's fast. What's going on? My parents are planning to manipulate me into signing the deed over to them. I overheard them discussing it. I need to sell before they return from a trip and have a chance to execute their plan. Vivian was quiet for a moment. Then, the house is solely in your name. You owe them nothing legally. But if you're concerned about future harassment or attempted legal action, it's cleaner if the property ceases to be yours entirely, removes their target. That's exactly what I want. I know someone. Donovan Pierce, real estate investor who specializes in quick cash purchases. He's been hunting properties in your neighborhood for months. Let me make a call. 47 minutes later, my phone rang. Corvus Thorne, the voice was smooth, professional. Donovan Pierce, Pierce Property Investments. Been in the business for 18 years, closed over 400 transactions. Vivienne says you want to sell. Fast. Cash. Fast. Close. No listing. No showings. No contingencies. I can do 72 hours. I've seen your address on the tax rolls. Been watching that neighborhood. I can offer $980,000. Cash. As is. You handle moving your stuff out. I handle everything else. It was probably $50,000 under market value if I'd listed traditionally. I didn't care. Done. I'll have Vivian draft the paperwork. You'll have cash in your account by Friday afternoon. I hung up and immediately called my boss, Peter Nakamura, CTO of the software company where I'd worked for 4 years. Peter, I need to talk about the Richmond office transfer I inquired about last year. The one you said you weren't ready for? I'm ready now. How quickly can it happen? There's an open position. When can you start? Monday. You're serious. Completely. Okay, I'll make it happen. I moved like a machine for the next 72 hours. Methodical. Precise. Each task checked off a list that had materialized in my mind, fully formed, like I'd been planning this my entire life and just hadn't known it. Thursday morning at 6:47 a.m., I rented a 2-bedroom apartment in Richmond, found it online, toured it via video call, signed the lease electronically, moved in ready, furnished, $2,400 a month, available immediately. Thursday afternoon at 1:23 p.m., I hired Clark & Sons Moving Company, a local outfit run by 2 brothers who'd been moving households for 23 years, booked them for Saturday morning. Thursday evening at 5:56 p.m., I rented a storage unit at Cityside Storage, Unit 4B, climate controlled, 10x20. I paid 6 months up front in my parents' names, $1,440. Left their names on the rental agreement with instructions that they'd be picking up items starting Monday. Friday morning at 9:14 a.m., I opened new accounts at a different bank, transferred all my money, closed my old accounts except for one checking account with $500 in it, enough to look active, but not enough to matter. Friday afternoon at 2:37 p.m., the money hit $980,000. Minus closing costs, title fees, Vivian's fee. I netted $957,300. Friday evening at 6:03 p.m., I changed every password, email, social media, work accounts, streaming services, everything. Used a password manager with randomly generated strings. Friday night at 11:47 p.m., I got a new phone number. Ported my old number to a Google Voice account that would receive voicemails and texts but wouldn't ring. A digital dead letter office where I could monitor without engaging. Saturday morning at 6 a.m., the movers arrived. I'd spent Friday sorting everything in the house into 3 categories: mine, theirs, neutral, mine, my furniture, my books, my clothes, my tools, my computers, my grandmother's jewelry she'd left me, her photo albums, her recipe box, her garden journals, theirs, the furniture they'd lent me over the years, the kitchen appliances they'd given me for Christmas, the decorations Mom had insisted on bringing over, the tools Dad had left in my garage, everything that had once been theirs or that they'd given me with strings attached, neutral, house fixtures, built-ins, things that stayed with the property. The movers loaded my belongings into one truck headed for Richmond, loaded my parents' belongings into a second truck headed for Cityside Storage. By 3:47 p.m., the house was empty except for built-in fixtures and one thing, their house keys sitting on the kitchen counter next to a single piece of paper. I'd rewritten the note 17 times. Wanted it perfect. Wanted it to communicate everything without giving them ammunition. The final version read, Malcolm and Dahlia, the house has been sold. Ownership transferred to new owners as of yesterday afternoon. Your belongings are in Storage Unit 4B at Cityside Storage, 2847 Industrial Parkway. Rental is paid through March. The unit is in your names. This was my grandmother's house. She left it to me. It was mine to do with as I wished. I wished to sell it. Do not contact me. Do not come to my workplace. Do not attempt to find me. Any harassment will be documented and reported to appropriate authorities. I am no longer available to be your retirement plan. Corvus. I taped it to the inside of the garage window where they'd see it immediately when they pulled into the driveway. Then I locked up, dropped the keys through the mail slot, and drove away in my 2019 Toyota Corolla with everything I owned packed in the trunk and back seat. As I merged onto I-95 north toward Richmond, my phone buzzed. A notification from my old phone number forwarding to the Google Voice account. Flight update. Malcolm Thorne and Dahlia Thorne. Flight 1847 from Rome Leonardo da Vinci Airport. Arrival 4 p.m. today at Richmond International. I checked the clock on my dashboard. 12:43 p.m. They were coming home in 3 hours and 17 minutes. Coming home to a house that wasn't theirs anymore, that had never been theirs, that they'd never get to steal. I drove for 97 minutes to my new apartment, unloaded in 43 minutes with the help of the building super who'd taken pity on me. By 3:49 p.m., I was sitting in my new living room surrounded by boxes, eating pizza from the place across the street, waiting. At 4:12 p.m., my phone lit up with a text forwarded from my old number. It was from Jennifer, my elderly neighbor from the house, the one who'd taught me how to prune roses, the one I'd helped with her groceries every week for 3 years. Corvus, your parents just pulled up. They look confused. Your father is trying his key in the door. It's not working. Is everything okay? I texted back from my new number. Everything is fine, Jennifer. I sold the house. I've moved. I'm safe. Thank you for being such a wonderful neighbor. Her response came immediately. I'm so glad you're safe. Your grandmother would be proud of you. At 4:18 p.m., the first voicemail hit my old number. My father's voice, confused at first. Corvus, what the hell is going on? The key doesn't work. There's someone else's furniture through the windows. Call me back immediately. This isn't funny. The second voicemail came 7 minutes later. My mother, voice tight with forced calm. Honey, there must be some kind of misunderstanding. We're worried. The house looks different. Where are you? Please call us back. We just want to make sure you're okay. The third voicemail, at 4:34 p.m., was my father again. No confusion now. Pure rage. What the fuck did you do, Corvus? That's our retirement. You can't just sell a house without consulting us. We lived there. That's illegal. Expect to hear from a lawyer. You think you can just... The voicemail cut off. 30-second limit. The fourth voicemail came at 4:41 p.m. My mother crying. Baby, please. Whatever we did, we can fix it. Just talk to us. We love you. We're your parents. Please. I listened to them all. Saved them all. Didn't respond to any of them. At 4:53 p.m., they found my note. I knew because the next voicemail was different. My father's voice shook with something between rage and disbelief. A burden did this? You think you can punish us for one offhand comment? You destroyed your family over a conversation? You sold our home? You can't do this. That house was your grandmother's. You're violating her memory. This is elder abuse. Financial abuse. We'll sue you for everything. Do you hear me? Everything. My mother's follow-up 5 minutes later was more calculated. Corvus, we need to sit down and talk about this. Like adults. You're making a huge mistake. That house was supposed to support all of us. Your grandmother wanted it to benefit the family. We can work this out. Just call us. Please. Before you do something you can't take back. Too late. It was already done. The voicemails continued through the evening. 12 total. Ranging from threats to bargaining to guilt trips to false apologies. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I unpacked, made my bed, hung pictures, made my new apartment feel like mine. That night, at 11:34 p.m., an email arrived from my father. Subject line, legal action pending. The body was 2 paragraphs of threats, lawyers, lawsuits, claims that I'd somehow defrauded them, that the sale was invalid, that they'd fight this until I had nothing left. I forwarded it to Vivian Hale with a note. For your information, my parents are threatening legal action. Thought you should have this documented. She replied within 10 minutes. Noted. They have no legal standing. The house was yours to sell. Keep all communications. Document everything. Don't engage. Sunday morning, I woke up at 7:23 a.m. to 17 missed calls and 23 text messages, all from my parents or from numbers I didn't recognize, probably family members they'd recruited to their cause. I read none of the texts, listened to none of the voicemails, just saved them all as documentation. At 9:47 a.m., an email arrived from a different address. Subject: Family, Medical mediation request. It was from my Aunt Patricia, my mother's sister. She wanted to facilitate a conversation where everyone could heal these wounds and move forward as a family. I didn't respond. At 2:34 p.m., a different email. This one from my Uncle Gregory, Dad's brother. Subject: we need to talk. Asterisk Corvus. Asterisk. Asterisk. Your parents called me. They're devastated. I understand you're angry, but selling their home without warning was cruel. Family doesn't do this to family. Whatever happened, we can work it out. Meet me tomorrow, 10 a.m. Maple Street Cafe downtown. If you don't show, your father is filing a police report for elder abuse and financial exploitation. Don't test them. Asterisk. Asterisk. Greg. Asterisk. I stared at the email for a long time. Thought about ignoring it. Thought about blocking everyone and disappearing completely. But something made me respond. 2 words. Asterisk. I'll be there. Asterisk. Monday morning, I dressed carefully. Nice jeans, button-down shirt, looked professional, but not apologetic. I arrived at Maple Street Cafe at 10:14 a.m., 14 minutes late. Power move. They were already there. Not just my parents, Uncle Gregory, Aunt Patricia, my younger cousin Emma, who'd always been my parents' favorite. 5 against 1. They'd chosen a corner booth, backs to the wall, nowhere for me to escape. My father looked like he'd aged 5 years, red-faced, bags under his eyes. My mother looked small, diminished. Uncle Gregory looked stern. Aunt Patricia looked concerned. Emma looked confused. Sit down, my father snapped the moment he saw me. I stayed standing for a moment, let them wait. Then I pulled out a chair from the adjacent table, turned it around, and sat backward on it, arms crossed over the back, facing them but protected. Say what you came to say, I said quietly. Why would you sell our home? My mother cried. Actual tears. We lived there, for we stayed there every month we had plans. It was never your home, I said, keeping my voice level. It was my grandmother's house. She left it to me. You lived there when I invited you, and you planned to steal it. We discussed our future, my father yelled, loud enough that other patrons turned. You misunderstood a private conversation. You violated our privacy. I didn't misunderstand anything, I said. I heard you. You heard nothing. He slammed his hand on the table. Coffee cups rattled. You're twisting words to justify your cruelty. Actually, I said, pulling out my phone. I heard everything. I placed the phone on the table between us, opened the voice recorder app, found the file I'd saved and cleaned up with audio editing software. 47 minutes of conversation, trimmed to the essential 5 minutes. I saved the entire accidental call, I said. Every word. Would you like me to play it for everyone, or should I just share the highlights? My mother's hand flew to her mouth. My father's face drained of color. Uncle Gregory leaned forward. What's on that recording? I pressed play. The audio quality was perfect. I'd run it through enhancement software. Every word crystal clear. Asterisk, kid can't handle basic maintenance. Asterisk, asterisk, that's what happens when a boy gets handed a fortune he didn't earn. Asterisk, asterisk, your mother should have left the deed to us. Asterisk, asterisk, once we're back from Europe, we sit him down. Time to talk about our retirement. He needs to understand this house is our future, not his playground. Asterisk, asterisk, he feels guilty so easily. Just push a little. Mention your back pain, the medical bills. That always gets him. He'll sign whatever we need. Asterisk, asterisk, and if he resists, asterisk, asterisk, remind him what we sacrificed. He owes us. By next year, our names will be on that deed. Asterisk, asterisk, he's always been a burden from the moment he was born. Expensive, needy, a burden. Asterisk, laughter. I stopped the recording. The table was silent. The cafe was silent. Everyone within earshot had heard. Aunt Patricia was staring at my mother with something like horror. Uncle Gregory was looking at my father with disgust. Emma's mouth was open. How dare you, my father whispered. How dare you record us without consent? That's illegal. That's wiretapping. Actually, I said calmly, it's not. Oregon is a one-party consent state. I was a party to the call you called me. You failed to hang up. The recording is completely legal. Vivian Hale had confirmed this for me on Thursday, had even given me the relevant statute numbers in case they tried this argument. We didn't mean it, my mother sobbed, reaching across the table. We were just venting. Everyone says things they don't mean when they're frustrated. You meant every word, I said, pulling back so she couldn't touch me. You've been planning this for months, maybe years. That recording is from 3 weeks ago, but I guarantee if I went back through my memories, I'd find dozens of moments where you were testing the waters, planting seeds, measuring my guilt response. So you destroyed your family over hurt feelings? Uncle Gregory said, but his voice had lost its authority. He'd heard the recording. He knew. I didn't destroy anything, I said. They did. I'm not a son to them. I'm an asset to be mined, a weakness to be exploited. They said it themselves. I'm a burden they've been carrying for 27 years. We didn't mean, my mother started. Then what did you mean? I snapped, letting some of the rage show. Because you seemed pretty clear. You were going to manipulate me. Mention the medical bills. That always gets him into signing over a $980,000 house that my grandmother left specifically to me because she knew you'd do exactly this. That house was supposed to support the family, my father hissed. No, I said. That house was supposed to be mine. Grandma Isolde left it to me with explicit instructions. She knew you'd try this. That's why she made sure the will was ironclad. That's why she told me 6 months before she died your father would sell it to developers within a year. She knew. Silence. Here's what happens now, I said, standing up. No more money, no more guilt, no more manipulation. I'm not paying for your retirement. I'm not signing over property. I'm not taking your calls. And if you contact my workplace, which you've threatened to do, you'll be hearing from my attorney about harassment. We're family, my father said, and there was something desperate in his voice now. Family doesn't call their children burdens, I said. Family doesn't plot to steal inheritances. Family doesn't strategize about exploiting guilt. Where will we go? My mother whispered. The storage unit. We can't live in a storage unit. That, I said, picking up my phone and my coffee, is something you'll figure out on your own. You're capable adults. You have jobs. You have savings. Or you did before. You spent $8,500 on that Europe trip. I'm sure you'll find a way. After all, I paused at the table, looking at them one last time. I'm sure you'll find a way not to be a burden on society. My mother flinched like I'd slapped her. Uncle Gregory was staring at my father like he'd never seen him before. Aunt Patricia was shaking her head slowly. Emma was texting furiously, probably telling the rest of the family what had just happened. I walked out of the cafe into the crisp November morning, leaving them exactly where they'd left me my entire life, alone with the consequences of their choices. My phone buzzed before I'd reached my car. A text from Emma, asterisk. Holy shit, I'm so sorry. I had no idea they were like that. Are you okay? Asterisk. I texted back, asterisk. I'm fine. Thanks for caring. Asterisk. Another text, this one from Uncle Gregory. Asterisk. Your father is a piece of work. Always knew he was selfish, but this is beyond. If you need anything, a reference, someone to talk to, let me know. Asterisk. I saved both messages. Over the next 3 weeks, I got sporadic updates from family members who'd heard about the recording. Apparently, my parents had made the mistake of trying to recruit people to their side by playing the victim. Several family members had asked to hear the recording. I'd sent it to 4 people. All 4 had cut contact with my parents afterward. My cousin Marcus, who I'd always been close to, called me on a Tuesday evening. Dude, he said, your mom called my mom crying, said you'd betrayed the family. Aunt Patricia asked to hear the recording. Mom played it for the whole family dinner last night. Your parents are officially persona non grata. Grandma Isolda would have been proud. Thanks, Marcus. No, seriously. The family always knew your dad was kind of an asshole, but this is next level. And the way your mom enabled it? Jesus, you did the right thing. 6 weeks after the cafe confrontation, I got a letter, physical mail, forwarded to my new address by the building super at my old place. Return address, Cordova and Associates Law Firm. My stomach dropped. They'd actually hired a lawyer. I opened it carefully. Read the 3-page demand letter, claiming I'd improperly disposed of joint family property and demanding $980,000 in restitution plus damages. I immediately scanned it and emailed it to Vivian Hale. She called me within an hour, laughing. This is the funniest thing I've read all week, she said. They hired Roger Cordova. He's a personal injury ambulance chaser, not a property attorney. And this letter is nonsense. They have no claim. The house was yours. You can sell your own property. Can they actually sue me? They can file. Anyone can file anything, but it'll be dismissed within a month. I'll draft a response, making it clear we'll seek sanctions for frivolous litigation if they proceed. That usually kills these things. She was right. 2 weeks later, I got a terse email from Cordova and Associates withdrawing their representation. Apparently, once they'd actually reviewed the deed, the will, and the law, they'd realized my parents had lied about having any legal standing.